I'm Jeffrey Armfist back in World of Tanks, so I'm going to have now another video about the matchmaking in terms of skill. Why is it that we have blowouts? Why is it that we have unbalanced battles? Is it because of unbalanced teams in terms of skill? Or is it because of some other factor, which could be bad RNG for one team? So the teams may be equal, but one might get bad RNG. This is a theory Klaus Kellerman came up with, and there are potentially other theories, some random effect or something. Skill is not a big issue, it's something else. Okay, it's not skill. So I'm going to have a look at one thing that I noticed. Of course, it's just my rating. It's not so easy to access other people's ratings, but this is how I figured it out. So this is this month's rating. So World of Tanks rating and victory ranking is kind of similar. However, if we go to some of the previous months, so June, for example. So here we see in terms of World of Tanks rating, similar, 89%, so higher than 89% of the players, but only higher than 68% of the players in terms of victories, more than 1 kill per battle. If you go to previous month, the statistics for before June were not as complete, but let's just go and do that. So here only 48.6% victories. So I'm still scoring higher than 83% of the players. Didn't have a good month, quite clearly. But look at the victory rate. Let's go one more month just out of interest. And here's 52%. It's kind of okay. But still, this would be about 70%. Better than 70% of all players. Versus scored higher than 90% of all players in terms of World of Tanks rating, and also better in terms of tanks destroyed per battle. So why doesn't this 90% match whatever would have been here, 70% or something? Why is it the victories, I assume it's the same with everyone. You know, if you are an okay player, the victories are worse in terms of your ranking and victories. And there can only be one explanation. There is a factor that does not have to do with your skill. Yeah? I mean, it's not that your skill determines everything, because otherwise you'd be winning like 90% of the time. But even your ranking is not 90% better. So it's not better than 90% of the players. Even that, you know. So taking into account the team's average, you still don't get what you might expect in terms of your World of Tanks rating. And I assume the only obvious kind of thing that one might say is that there is a factor that is slightly chaotic, which is going to account for a large number of battles. And so you never, just on the basis of skill, be able, you know, regardless of your team, assuming the teams are equal, and this player like you on the opposite team, which is about as good as you are, so you still expect 90% of the players to be worse than the two of you, and you have a good chance, you know, kind of, no, maybe not entirely 52%, but you have a good chance to do okay. But in general, you don't. You know, you sort of match the other team. You know, in terms of win rate, 52% is basically even. It means that on the other team, there's another guy like you, and there's some bad guys in your team, and the other team also has some bad players. And so it doesn't matter you're better than 90%. You're still going to get a 50% win rate because the teams are kind of pretty hopeless. But your ranking should have been 90% better, yeah. Also in terms of victory rate or win rate, but it's not. It's usually about 10-20% less. And there is therefore an uncertainty factor. And the question is, what is that? What is that uncertainty? Is it bad RNG? That's one possibility. Is it something else? So you get bad RNG, get punished, and so you don't reach your potential of doing better than 90% of the players, only better than 70% of the players. I mean, that's a huge difference. It means that 10% of the players that are better in terms of World of Tanks ratings, but 30%, like a third of the player base, is better than you in terms of their ranking, in terms of win rate. I mean, that's a huge difference. So how can there be such a huge difference? I mean, one thing is that you always have bad RNG or something, yeah? But always bad RNG. I mean, what else could it be? And so my theory is it's basically some chaos induced by the matchmaker and the disparity in skill levels, which is so huge that it doesn't really matter that you are better. You're not just going to get an average win rate. You know, like everyone's going to get an average win rate. You know, it doesn't matter what your skill level is. You know, basically a 52% win rate is an average win rate. You know, it's about 50%. And your skill level, you know, is 60-70% better than 60-70% of the player base when so many players are clueless. You know, it's basically your win rate is random, more or less. And it's random because the skill level disparity is so huge. And so let's have a look then at one particular battle, and I'm going to try and demonstrate one thing that is going on. So I have here a few battles that I played recently. Let's see, it's a bit lower. Okay, this was the one I was thinking, and this was a blowout, completed loss. Let's have a look. So here is +2 matchmaking. I didn't do really well at all. This tank has 110 or 120 pen, but a lot of these tanks are just as good armor as the KV1. You know, it's difficult to pen. And so I didn't do very well, but that was not really so much the point that I was bottom tier that I didn't do well. It's more of something else. If you notice here, the best tank in the enemy team is the T-43, a medium, top tier, so +2 matchmaking. He came on top, 2,486 damage. Amazing, huh? The counterpart on our side was a T-34-100, who did 0 damage. And let's have a look at the stats of these two players. So we have this guy on our team, top tier, medium tank, player service record. He has a win rate of less than 42% with 2,500 battles. Why does he play a tier 7? You know, when I had 2,500 battles, I hadn't played above tier 2. I mean, what? Why? What possesses these people to jump so high without having a good tank? And then, now there's a premium. You know, both of them are regular tanks. Or is this a T-34-100 premium? I can't remember. I don't think it is. But in any case, so let's have a look at the T-43 player. So he has a 51.6% win rate. He has like, you know, it's like miles away compared to the other guy. Has 57,000 battles compared to 2,500. I mean, these guys were like no comparison, and it shows in the results. So if you get this guy on your team, you get that guy on the enemy team, that's great. If it's the other way around, bad luck, you know. Let's have a look at some of the other players, because I think it could be a little bit instructive. So, about the best player we had, this guy, and the Nasor, 47% win rate. So even he was not a match for the T-43. Let's have a look at the E-25, the second best player. 46% win rate with so many battles. So he is beyond hope. Do they have E-25 on the opposite team? No, they did not. That would have been interesting. What do they have? We have, both teams have EBR, so let's have a look at our own guy in the EBR. So 6,000 battles, less than 45% win rate. Let's have a look at this guy. It did better, quite clearly. He has more battles, if I remember, more than twice as many, and 2% win rate points higher. A little bit more than 2%. Still a little bit of an advantage for the enemy team. Okay, and let's have a look at the KVMs. We have KVMs on both teams. So there's one here. Player service record, 5,000 battles, 47% win rate. What about this one? 46, less than 46, with only 120 battles. Okay. So every time we do a comparison, our team is worse, but especially worse in the top tier tank. And let's have a look. 230-45 M. We'll have both teams. 54.8% win rate with 1,700 battles. What? So here's our best player. He only had 1,700 battles. Personal rating only 5,400. What? 3 mastery badges? What? How can you have such high win rate? Okay, let's have a look at the other guy. 50, oh, second. Okay, player service rate. 154 battles. 54% win rate with 3,000 personal rating. Oh my god, how does this work? Is it an OP tank? Or do noobs get high win rates? What? Do new players, is this the alternative? If you have new players on the enemy team, they have a fantastic win rates. They're gonna, what is this? This is completely nonsensical. 54%. What is the other guy? 54.8%. With these kinds of stats, that's weird. Okay, I don't know how this works. Maybe they have bought only very OP premiums. Maybe, I don't know. That's very weird. So that was the comparison I'm going to make. And next I will show you a battle. I'm going to play a battle. And I'll show you some interesting situations there that illustrate one particular example of what I'm talking about. So I've saved a battle somewhere. Replays this one. It was this one, I think. I mean, try it. If it doesn't work, I'll have to do it offline. So I had this battle, and that's another factor, I think. In addition to this huge disparity in skill, you know, some very strange statistics like those with the T3045Ms. And also, if you look closely at the players in the two teams, sometimes you see that you have someone on your team looks good. No, this isn't the battle that I had in mind, sorry. You see that if you check the disparity in the teams, so if you check sometimes the statistics of the players, what's going on? What's running? It's not running. Oh, come on. You see that there are some weird players that have very weird statistics. Like once Klaus Kellerman had something on this topic, and I looked at some of the players on his team, and they had something like 2,000 battles, and they started playing something like a few months ago. And when they started playing, they had a win rate of 60%, and at the time when they were in Klaus's team, they had a win rate of 52%. Okay, so here we have the battle that I was thinking of. There's a battle I had today, earlier on today. So let's just have a look at it, look around. So there's a guy next to me, seems to have some kind of decals, seems to be a good player. It's not a guy at the front with a master's badge. But look here in the distance towards the trees. There are several tanks. There's the T1 Heavy without camo. There's the stock KV1 with a stock turret, a stock gun. There is a TD, it's too good, is it, without camo. There's this British medium on the right, no camo. There's two Chaffies, neither of those has camo. So how are they going to spot without camo? Let's see what all these tanks, they're going to snipe. And it looks like not a single one of these tanks coming to snipe actually has camo. And I expect, therefore, they don't have optics, they don't have binocs, they don't have camo nets, they don't have anything. You know, if they come into snipe and they don't have camo on their tanks, they've never sniped before. And look at another thing that's kind of interesting deployment. Let's put everything back on how it should be. So I'm coming here basically to spot. You can see all the other tank destroyers and the two chaffies at the back to snipe. T-67 and me are spotting basically, and we are competing against the two enemy lights. And T1 Heavy decided to charge forward regardless, so he's been spotted. He's never played this game before. And now we have a T-67 enemy. T-67 managed to get to an aggressive position without being spotted all this time. So quite clearly he's a good player and he's going to be a problem. Our T-67, that was probably the best tank on our team, is dead. He went to spot, and the guys who were supposed to snipe probably can't even reach that far. You know, the chaffies and so on, the Cavalier. So none of these tanks that are near me have camo on their tanks. Now there's an enemy tank they're approaching. I'm shooting blind, no idea who it is. Okay, the T1 Heavy has been extinguished. The T-67 has gone back to his usual position. In fact, he's gone further forward, and it looks like he's making a scouting run, and I've been spotted somehow. How did I get spotted? I haven't been spotted. It was a blind shot. Got me. I'm going back to my scouting position. So the T-67 is coming back. Can I get away in time? Oh, he spotted me. Damn it. Okay, so I'm tracking, but can someone shoot this? Okay, so I'm dead. And quite clearly I was spotting for the team so far. Let's see what happens next. Can the sniping chaffies turn the battle around? Can the Cavalier spot anyone? Can the KV-1 spot somebody? Who was shooting at us? There was a Leopard shooting me, there's a Gorilla, there's a Skoda T24, here it is, a T2 and a T1 Heavy. Let's see what the chaffies can do. Now is the time for the chaffies to shine, snipe from the red line. The 82 lost some health, so did the T1 Heavy, but I expect the rest of their team is now charging forward. Okay, and the enemies have gone stealth, which means the chaffies have absolutely no view range. Why do you play a light tank if you have zero view range? If you cannot outspot an AT2 and a T1 Heavy. Okay, and the Skoda T24 is making, so he's advancing, he's making his move. And Leopard, okay, so we're done for. So what is my point here? The point is, let's have a look and we see the two chaffies have been eliminated already. No, one of them is still alive. Yeah, extinguished. Can you imagine the chaffie shooting at the AT2? So don't play a light tank if in a map like this, which is made for light tanks, you don't know what to do. Yeah. This is the map for light tanks, and these two guys went to the back to snipe and expected the tank destroyers to spot for them. So that's the other aspect of chaos that I was talking about. So one example was that disparity in the top two tanks, the two teams, the two mediums and +2 matchmaking that we saw in the previous example. Here we have aggressive spotting from the enemy, the T-67 and their light tanks, and they absolutely outspotted our team. And on our side we had two chaffies in this map that's ideal for lights that sat on the back and sniped from the red line. They had no camo, they couldn't pen the 82, they couldn't pen the T1 Heavy. And that's another, it's not just that it's random teams with random people, but in the key positions very often you have people who just shouldn't be there. It's just a huge disparity in skill depending on the map, on the positions, or the matchmaking on the positions that are really, really crucial. Okay. So a number of factors. It's not just skill, it's some other factors that come into it. But they are skill related. It's not about, I wasn't having bad RNG, so let me just show you. I think I already shown it, but if we just close this. Okay, if we go back to the game, you will see that, today I had 15 games. I was killing 2 tanks per battle. I was having nearly 4 tanks every time, for every time I died, 4 enemy tanks died. Despite of that, I lost more than 50% of the battles out of those 15. So there must have been something about skill. I wasn't having bad RNG because, I was actually killing lots of enemy tanks. It can be that only my teammates had bad RNG. Either the whole team has bad RNG, or the whole team has good RNG if it's some kind of algorithm. But if one player has good RNG and for 15 battles it kills 2 tanks on average per battle, it cannot be that just this one player in every team has good RNG. By what is this? What's wrong with the other 14 players? So let's see if we connect. Sorry about this. So I'll just say this and just close it off and wrap it up. So here it is, 15 battles. World of Tank ranking and so on. 46.7% win rate. Average number of vehicles destroyed 2. Enemies destroyed per player destroyed, whatever. Nearly 4 enemies every time. For every time I got killed. So how can it be that I had such fantastic RNG and my teammates had such a poor RNG? Because we lost more than half our battles. So the Klaus's theory is that everybody in one team gets bad RNG, but it's quite clear that I wasn't getting bad RNG because I was killing lots of enemy players. So it's not about bad RNG. It may happen now and then that everybody in the team is going to have bad RNG, but I think it's going to be very rare. Okay, so that was my concluding remark. Thank you for listening through my criticisms, and thank you for watching.